In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody? I am back to do another movie review, and today I will be talking about Alien Romulus, which I believe is the third installment of this new trilogy that they have going on right now. Of course, you know, if you're familiar with it, the first one they came out with was Prometheus, then they came out with Alien Covenant, and now here we have Alien Romulus. Now, according to what I looked up, the synopsis is: space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe while scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station. And while that synopsis is only very brief and very not much detailed, I guess that's a good way to put it, considering people have no idea what's in store for them when they actually go and witness this movie. But if you've seen the previous alien films of the past, you already know it's not going to be what any of the characters are expecting, because in this movie all they're doing is they're trying to go and leave this planet that they're on, where they pretty much live in squalor. They live pretty much bummy lives. They basically work day to day trying to move up in rank or just move to another post, but everything that they do just continues to knock them down. So they decide, you know what, let's try our luck and go to this space pod or this space station that they found up in space, and go and just stay in these pods until we can get to this other planet. Because mind you, the planet that they're from has no sunlight. They know it's a sun out there, but they pretty much live every day in darkness. Like, they did a little rundown that shows that they have 0 days of sunlight ever on this planet. They're like 65 light years away from Earth, and where they want to go is like paradise, and it does at least have a sun. But in order for them to do that, they need to go onto this space station in order to accomplish that. And once they arrive on there, that's when all hell breaks loose. And by hell, I mean in the form of facehuggers and xenomorphs. It's like it just goes all downhill from there. It's like it always runs the thing of, okay, we found what we were looking for, but then we run into a snag, and then that snag turns into all hell breaking loose. And that is exactly what happens in this movie. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this movie takes place between the first Alien movie that came out in 1979 and the Aliens movie that came out in, I think, 1986. So this movie happens like right in between there, because when they arrive to the space station, you can tell it's already been used. It's not like it's not having been inhabited. You can tell that something or people have been there. And when you start to go throughout the movie, you realize that it was people there. So I do believe, if I read it correctly, that this movie does take place in between those two particular movies. So if you wanted to go back and look at the first Alien, then it can give you kind of a catch up of that. And they even kind of hint at the Ellen Ripley character in this movie when they said that there was only one person that survived this encounter in the movie. And I said, yep, that's got to be her, because when you think about the first Alien movie, she was the only person that did survive in the first Alien movie that came out in the late 70s. In this movie, you have a variety of characters. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not too familiar with a lot of the actors that are in this. I'm not saying that they are no-name actors, but I'm not too familiar with them. But you know, you have a main character. She kind of reminds you of an Ellen Ripley type of character because of how they have her acting, and even some of the stuff that she is doing that Ellen Ripley would do in the original films. Then you have a black character in there who happens to be an android, and I kind of figured he was an android when I saw the trailer of this movie. Then you have two other female characters, and then you have two other male characters. One of the male characters in this movie, he was a straight up asshole, and when he got what he got, I can honestly say, okay, you know, yeah, it is what it is. What happened to him, he's gone. But you know, every type of movie like this definitely has to have that one person that does too much, and they're usually the one that ends up, well, what happens to them ends up happening. So it's really of no surprise there. But he was probably the only character out of the whole movie that I didn't like, and I think everybody who watched the movie with me probably would agree. And if you go and watch the movie, you'll understand why I said. One thing that I really loved about this movie, and I picked up on it and I said it to myself as I was watching the movie halfway in, is the environment. One thing that horror movies, a well done horror movie, especially one that deals with aliens, is the environment. You think that it's all conducive into this one spot. They're in space, they're in a space station. It's not this open world type of thing, and you literally have to try to survive while you're on this abandoned spaceship in darkness in space, while you're in containment with these creatures that you have no idea what they are, and you don't know where they come from, and then you're just pushing the luck button and hoping that you figure out how it is that you end up destroying them, or you come across something that will kind of give you a hint or a riddle or a lifeline to help guide you into how to deal with the threat. And I like the environment, how it literally is, where it's, like I said, everything is contained into one spot, and they have to try to fight for survival in a fight and claw their way out of the situation. Let me also tell you something else that I really loved, and I noticed this when I saw the trailers, and I'm gonna go back to the trailers in a little bit. The huggers, the face huggers in this movie were some of the best face huggers I've seen out of any alien film that I've watched, and I've watched, I wouldn't say all of the alien films, but I've watched enough of them, or even their spin-offs like your AVPs and Alien vs. Predator and all of that type of stuff. When I tell you them things was moving, because when we think of the face huggers, a lot of the times we only think of them just hopping or leaping and then attaching themselves to your face so they can plant the seed into your body and then thus spring a xenomorph. But no, these things were hopping, leaping, hanging, swinging, running. I mean, them things was running so fast, I thought they was in the Indy 500. It was a scene in here where they was running in stampede formation, and when I tell you, they ran so fast that their little feet, that their little legs sound like big stomps when they were all together. It was amazing how they were able to get them to move, and you can tell this was all practical effects. Like, they didn't CGI the face huggers. These are all handcrafted, built. They probably were robotic or something like that. Now I don't know what they did in order to make them run that fast, but that is so creepy to see how that works. And another thing that I like when it came to the face huggers is they figured out how to get around them, which is something that I don't think I've seen them do in the other movies, is how do you get around these huggers if they are all congregated in one spot and you need to get to the other side. And that was just to basically have your body temperature match the temperature inside of the room and move very quietly. And the thing is, they were saying if you sweat, if you are nervous, or if you experience fear, they're gonna know and they're gonna react to that. So when it comes to the face huggers, you have to really be on your P's and Q's, and you only get one chance with them. If you don't get around them, that's it. You literally are going to have to run for your life and hope that they don't catch you, because them things, like I said in this movie, move very fast, especially since they have legs like spiders. It's crazy. Like I said, the huggers were one of the best parts of the movie, especially the hallway scene when they was running in a stampede formation. I just couldn't believe how fast these things was moving. Going back to the environment, that was one of the things that probably scared me the most in the movie, outside of the huggers themselves, or even slightly the xenomorphs. The xenomorphs didn't really scare me that much, but the environment of knowing that they're in complete darkness, seeing how the xenomorphs moved in the shadows, how you have the blinking lights and you'll see a tail just swinging and climbing up a wall, that right there is very fearful to me, because imagine that happening in real life. Not saying again that the xenomorphs weren't scary, but just their movements in the shadows is what scared me more than actually just seeing them right there. Another scene that was really interesting was the acid scene. It was an acid scene where they had to turn the gravity on, and they had to maneuver to get around the acid, and that was so amazingly done. It's just the way that they went about doing things with an intellectual property, a franchise that's been around for so long, and was able to add on to something while still staying true to the originality of what makes this franchise so great. And that's how, in my opinion, you keep a franchise going. Now, one thing I also want to mention again is the trailers. The marketing that they did for this movie, as far as the trailers go, the trailers does not do this movie justice. I saw the teaser trailer and I said I was locked in already. I didn't even have to see anything else, but I said, you know what, I'll go ahead and entertain them. Watched the next trailer and I said, I'm still in. By the time that third trailer came around with that final trailer, I said, yep, they already got my money. I was completely invested by that time. By that time, I said, yep, I'm going to go see this movie, and I'm so glad that I did. Alien Romulus was a very good film. It had some moments in there that were kind of iffy to me, some stuff in there that didn't seem realistic, some kind of things they did seem very plot device-ish. But you know, when it comes to movies like this, I guess that's to be expected. But I don't want to say which ones actually were. But when you watch it, you'll be like, that doesn't seem like it would actually happen. If this was to actually occur in real life, it would probably most likely go this way. But because of the type of movie that it is, I guess we'll just have to go with the flow. But anyway, y'all, that is my review for Alien Romulus. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Is this a movie that you would go see, or would you wait for it to go on streaming? And also, are you a fan of the Alien franchise? And if you are, what Alien films have you seen? Whether it's the regular franchise or if it's the spin-off franchise, let me know which ones are your favorites. And I will talk to you all in the next one. Be safe and be one.